Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Extra Innings Podcast, where today we will be continuing the series that we have started for the past couple episodes, where we go over all 30 teams in the MLB and grade their 2020 offseason and give an outlook on what their 2020 season will look like. So, continuing the trend of going in alphabetical order, we have the Chicago Cubs. The Chicago Cubs had a very underperforming 2019, going 84-78 with a 51-30 home record at Wrigley Field and a 33-48 road record. They were third in the NL Central, and they missed the playoffs for the first time in 4 years. You would think, with how much they underperformed, they didn't need so much in the offseason because they know that they'll perform. Hopefully their players perform better than just as expected instead of underperforming. So I understand why their offseason was a little dry, but I do believe that they had one of the poorer off seasons when it comes to the NL Central. They didn't do too much, and they let a couple guys go that are definitely going to hurt them and hurt that lineup. So let's go into it. Right off the bat, we're going to go with them letting go of Nick Castellanos, and I am not a fan of this. I think Nick Castellanos, when they picked him up at that trade deadline, I think it was a great trade. I was hoping my team would pick up Nick Castellanos, but they didn't. He's an outfielder, but you can throw him a little bit at third base. I don't know why the Cubs let him go. I mean, I know he actually did get a nice amount of money from the Cincinnati Reds, which we'll be doing in the next episode. So you will be hearing about Nick Castellanos in the next one, or Nicholas Castellanos. I think I don't know if he's a premier outfielder, but he is definitely above league average. He hits the ball phenomenally. Oh my God. He is, he's defensively not the greatest defensive outfielder, but he gets the job done. You plug him in right field. He does what he has to do to get outs. And it's just a good bat to have, especially in the lineup like the Cubs have with Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant. You throw Castellanos in there. It really makes that 3-4-5, 4-5-6, however you want to play it, really scary. And even Javi Baez. So it's you can either have a 2-3-4-5 or 3-4-5-6. Schwarber in there. That one. They have 6-7 batters who really hit the ball. So to lose Castellanos, I don't agree with it. I think you should have brought him back, especially after the year that he had last year. He had a really good year. But they didn't bring him back. Next signing is they re-signed Anthony Rizzo to a 1-year contract to avoid arbitration. It was actually a team option that was exercised. Rizzo in 2019 hit .293 with a .405 on base, a .520 slugging, a .924 OPS with 27 home runs and 94 RBIs. This is a phenomenal year from your first baseman. You really can't ask for much more. The dude raked. He was a Gold Glover, fourth in his career. Probably should have been an All-Star, but he did have a better second half, so it does make sense as to why he didn't probably make an All-Star team. Look, if you just look at these numbers, he's hitting, to have a .293 average is absolutely absurd, because anybody who hits over 300 is considered a really, elite hitter for average. Maybe like Altuve, who hit for over 300 multiple years in a row, or Andrelton Simmons, or Marcus Semien. Guys like that who hit for close to that 300 average. Those guys are considered elite when it comes to getting on base, which is getting on base leads to runs, and that's that's the Moneyball way of thinking. But if you get on base, chances are you're going to score more times than you don't. So Anthony Rizzo does a great job doing that, and don't get it. He also makes it really hard for pitchers to do their job. His batting stance, he's very open. It looks like if you throw him a pitch inside, he can't get to it. But trust me, he'll turn on that ball faster than almost anybody in this league. He has that same twitch time that he does with that Cody Bellinger has, where if a ball's inside, they can read it and they can turn on that ball, because pitchers think they can go inside on Anthony Rizzo. They think they can get him, if they go up and in. But trust me, he'll literally get on one knee and turn on a ball and crush that ball to right field. So Anthony Rizzo is one of the premier elite first baseman in the league. He's still in his prime, entering his age 30 season. Cubs need to lock him up for much longer. I believe so. Then they re-signed their catcher, Wilson Contreras. There's a lot of there's a lot of debate going around on whether Wilson is an elite catcher or not. I believe Contreras is an elite catcher. I think his hitting combined with his amazing arm, he has a cannon behind the plate. He really does. But I'll give you his hitting stats real quick. He hit 272 with a 355 on base, a 533 slugging, an 888 OPS with 24 home runs, 64 RBIs with it, and he was a 3.1 win player. He's entering his age 28 season. He's been an all-star for the past 2 years. I think he's hitting that upper echelon tier of catchers, of joining JT Realmuto and, guys like Yasmani Grandal. Defensively, there is more to fill when it comes to defense. He leaves you yearning for a little more, but he's not the greatest defensive catcher in the sense that he does give up a couple pass balls, so he doesn't really block as many pitches because he really relies on his glove hand to stop a lot of the pitches instead of really getting down on his two knees. But he has been getting better as the years go on. It's going to be his 5th year in the bigs. It's not a long time. When he was a rookie in his 2nd year, he really relied on that glove hand to pick balls in the dirt. But then he started to look and that a lot of pass balls were going by him because he just couldn't get the glove there in time. So he did start getting down. He's getting better at it. So you combine above average fielder with an elite hitter at the catcher position, which is very scarce. You're trying to find those really good catchers. He is one of them, and he's here to stay. He reminds me of, Omar Narvaez, who's on the Seattle Mariners. Narvaez, with the bat, obviously he's a better defensive catcher than Narvaez, but he reminds me of Narvaez with the bat, who really has that pop. Wilson hits for a better average, but in my opinion, Wilson, in my opinion, is a better catcher right now than Omar Narvaez. But keep an eye out on Wilson Contreras. I think he will become an elite catcher as time goes on. Next, they re-signed Javi Baez to a 1-year contract to avoid arbitration. Almost all these contracts I will be talking about are 1-year contracts to avoid arbitration. And Baez in 2019, what a year he had. Hit 281 with a 316 on base, a 531 slugging, and 847 OPS. Hit 29 home runs with 85 RBIs, 11 stolen bases, and he was a 6-win player in 2019. He was an all-star, back-to-back all-stars. If you are realizing a trend that I keep talking about with elite players on the Chicago Cubs, you're right. They have an elite first baseman. They have an elite shortstop. They have an elite catcher. We'll get to their elite third baseman. That's why I said they underperformed, because if you look at this lineup on paper, it looks like they should be scoring 10 runs a game. Wrigley Field, that ball carries. It really looks like they should be hitting at least 5 home runs a game and scoring 10 runs a game, and that's where they underperformed. They had a really rough end of the 2019. And they were looking to be maybe, a wild card spot. It looked like the Central was really not in their reach anymore, and they looked like they had a wild card spot, but they lost it at the end of the year to the Brewers and the Nationals. But back to Javier Baez, defensive genius out there, El Mago, as they call him, the magician. He's something special to watch, I'm not a Cubs fan, but watching him play shortstop is it's a beauty to watch, When he played in the WBC and Molina made that throw and he literally applied that tag without looking. I don't know what better. I don't think there was a better tag. He's by far the best swipe tag in the league, There are a lot of shortstops / second basemen who can apply that quick tag. Colton Wong is one of them that comes to mind. But Javier Baez is by far the best tagger, if that makes sense, in the league. It's just it's second nature to him. it's such a force of habit to just swipe that arm down. He knows where the runner will be before the runner knows where he's going. If the runner's going to do a swim tag last minute, a swim move last minute, Baez knows it. He knows he does his research on how the runners like to steal. Like Mike Trout is very he uses his swim move a lot to try to evade that tag, especially when the fielder's not looking, because it's a bang bang play and he's just to get his glove down. He'll use that swim move. Baez knows it. He doesn't fall for it, and defensively, probably a top 5 defensive shortstop. Offensively, he's definitely a top 5 defensive shortstop. That power, those RBIs, that average, everything going into it. You need to lock Javier Baez up for good. He's only 26, entering his 8th 27th season. He's already a 16-win player, almost a 17-win player in his career. He has a chance to be one of the most elite shortstops to ever play the game. And I mean that, ever play the game. If he continues his pace, he's going to be a lock for Cooperstown. So, I'm excited to watch Javier Baez's career unfold. Next, going on to their elite third baseman that the Cubs have. They got Kris Bryant, and they locked up Kris Bryant for a 1-year deal. I'm pretty sure that's to avoid arbitration. It is. Kris Bryant in 2019 hit 282 with a 382 on base, a 521 slugging, and a 903 OPS with 31 home runs and 77 RBIs. And he was a 3.7 win player. Kris Bryant entering his age 28 season this upcoming season. An all-star in 2019. He won the MVP in 2016, won the Rookie Year in 2015, was an all-star in 2015 and 2016, had a down year in 2018. As everyone knows, he only hit 13 home runs in 2018, but boy, did he bounce back in 2019. An all-star nod, 31 home runs, 77 RBIs, and I guarantee you, when the Cubs perform the way they're supposed to perform, that RBI total will go up. And again, not to mention, the guy is an absolute animal at the hot corner. If a ball gets by him, you're surprised. If you're going through defensive third basemen, that first ones that come to mind: Nolan Arenado, Matt Chapman, and then you got Kris Bryant. The ball just doesn't get by him. He has so much range. Going to his backhand, his arm is phenomenal. If a ball's down the line, trust me, he'll get there. And 90% of the time, he will make that hard throw across the diamond. And he has one of his best friends on the team, Anthony Rizzo, right at first base. If he makes a bad throw, he knows Rizzo will bail him out. Rizzo is one of the most elite defensive first basemen in the league. Their corner infielders, their middle infield, everything about it, just elite. And this is another guy they should lock up for a really long time, just entering his prime. I don't see him getting worse. I only see him going up. Career-wise, he's a 23.9 win above replacement player. He's only been in the league for 5 years, so if you consider that if he keeps this up and he plays a long 18 to 20-year career, he'll be one, again, like I said, maybe one of the best third basemen to ever play baseball. That's a very elite group of company. They have Brooks Robinson, guys like that. But trust me, he can really crack that list. So another guy that the Cubs have to lock up, and the Cubs are going to get, the money's going to become a little bit of an issue for the Cubs because they have so many guys that they have to lock up who are on 1-year deals right now. Once they get through arbitration, these guys, and they're going to ask for big-time money, I don't know if the Cubs are going to be able to pay over them. It's got to pay Kris Bryant, Javier Baez, Anthony Rizzo, Wilson Contreras. Are you going to pay Kyle Schwarber? It's a lot of money tied up into a lot of guys. So, and this has nothing to do with their pitching staff, which wasn't great in 2019 either. So we'll just continue moving on. Another guy they signed to arbitration is Kyle Schwarber. I don't want to talk too much about this. Kyle Schwarber he's got the bat. Defense isn't really there. He will be their starting left fielder, I believe he should be their starting left fielder. He adds another, just scary sight to that lineup. if I'm a pitcher and I see the Chicago Cubs, it's like, how do I get through these guys? If I'm a starting pitcher, how do I get through these guys 3 times to get a quality start? I'm lucky if I get through them once. I have to face Rizzo 3 times, Bryant 3 times, Baez 3 times, Contreras 3 times, now Schwarber 3 times. It's like, I want to get a quality start here, but I don't know how you can go through a lineup 3 times and get that quality start without giving up 3 runs. So, you know, they make it tough on pitchers. I wish, they didn't really capitalize. They didn't show their full potential in 2019, and I believe that in 2020, if we play, no matter how many limited games there are, they will show their potential. So, good signing by the Cubs. Then you have Jeremy Jeffries. They signed him as a free agent. He had not a great year in 2019. I'll be honest. He pitched. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. He pitched a 5.02 ERA in 52 innings. He had a negative .4 WAR. Only 1 save, 46 strikeouts. He's entering his age 32 season. Something in Milwaukee didn't click with him. He was an All-Star in 2018 with Milwaukee. His first and only All-Star nod in his career. He's entering his age 32 season. Just something didn't click. He went from a 1.29 ERA in 2018 to a 5.02 in 2019. His innings did go down from 76 and 2/3 to 52 innings. He gave up the same amount of home runs, but 18 more earned runs. Didn't strike out nearly as many batters. All the stats that you want him to go down in, he went up, and all the stats that you want him to go up in, he went down. So it's a 1-year deal. Can he have a resurgence to go back to his 2018 self and be an All-Star for the Cubs? I don't know. I don't believe so. I think he's just going to be a middle of the pack reliever for the rest of his career. I don't really think that he's going to blossom into this amazing closer or amazing long reliever or even a setup man at age 32, age 33 if he gets re-signed by the Cubs in 2021. I just don't see it happening. I don't love the signing. There were better relievers on the market that you could have signed for cheaper, I'm sure. So I don't love the Jeremy Jeffries signing. Then a small signing, you signed Jason Kipnis to a minor league contract. You could bring him up if he's having a really solid year in the minors. You bring him up as a bench bat. I doubt he replaces Ian Happ. I don't know. I like Jason Kipnis. I've always liked him. Honestly, I really have always liked him. So I hope he does get a chance because that'd be really cool. I really do hope he does get a chance. But that second base is really log jammed with Ian Happ, Nico Horner. So does he get a chance? Probably not. But maybe he thought in his head, this is my only shot at a real roster spot on a winning team. So you never know. But I'm a fan of the signing just because I like Jason Kipnis. But do I think it's going to impact them at all in 2020 or 2021? No. Next, they signed Steven Souza to a 1-year contract. And with Steven Souza, unfortunately, 2019, in spring training of 2019, he, really messed up his knee and he had to get surgery on it and missed the entire year. Then he got non-tendered by the Diamondbacks. So the last stats we have of him were in 2018, where he hit a 220 average with a 309 on base, a 369 slugging, and a 678 OPS. Steven Souza had pretty solid years, in Tampa Bay. Hit 30 home runs 1 year. But I don't know how he's going to come back from this knee injury, so I can't really assess this signing. I haven't seen him play in a full year, pretty much 2 full years, because in 2018 he only played 72 games. He was hurt that year as well. So I don't really know how to assess this. I'm really just going to give it a just not available grade right now. I don't have a grade to give it because I can't assess it because I don't know, how he's going to perform with that knee. So next, Ben Zobrist declared free agency, wasn't brought back, probably will retire. Ben Zobrist, great career. It's going to be a utility guy that they're going to lose out on. Will it affect them too much? No, but remember, Ben Zobrist was a huge part of that World Series winning team that the Cubs had. So if Ben Zobrist does end up retiring, great career to him. Played phenomenal almost anywhere he was. And hats off to him. I just wanted to put that out there. Next, they did not offer a contract to Addison Russell, and this was a little surprising. Not really. But Addison Russell, Chicago player his whole career, and he had a little, that little incident with domestic violence, and I really think that's when the whole MLB community just really turned against him, and he never really gained that trust back. So I understand not offering him that contract. It's just you don't need that bad PR. You never know when it's going to come back to bite him. So I'm sure Addison Russell will find a place, but it won't be with the Chicago Cubs, I'll tell you that. He is a good baseball player. He's not a bad baseball player. It just wasn't the right fit in Chicago, I guess. And the last signing I want to talk about for the Chicago Cubs is them bringing back Jose Quintana. I think they really needed this. They needed this pitcher back to really solidify this pitching rotation. John Lester, Yu Darvish, Kyle Hendricks, Jose Quintana, and Tyler Chatwood, probably their starting five. Their bullpen, I'll go through it quick. Craig Kimbrell, their closer, didn't have a great 2019. Kyle Ryan, Rowan Wick, Brad Wick, Jeremy Jeffries, Dan Winkler, Dwayne Underwood Jr., and they're probably going to be put Jarrell Cotton in there. Their catchers, Wilson Contreras and Victor Caratini. First base, Anthony Rizzo and also Victor Caratini. Second base, probably Nico Horner and Ian Happ. Third base is Chris Bryant and David Bodie. Shortstop is Javier Baez, and then they have Hernan Perez in the minor leagues. Left field is Kyle Schwarber and Steven Souza. Center field is probably Albert Almora Jr. with Ian Happ as a backup. And in right field, they have Jason Hayward with Steven Souza Jr. as a backup. So, in 2019, they went 84-78. In 2020, I'm going to give them a 4-win increase to an 88-74. I just don't think they did. I don't think they really did much in 2019 in the 2020 offseason. I think they let a lot of guys go that they really could have used, like Nicholas Castellanos. I just don't think they did. I don't think they did enough to really solidify themselves back as the first team in the NL Central. I think they're still worse than the Cardinals. I think they're worse than the Brewers. I think the Reds are hot on their tail. So 88-74 record on a 162 game scale. I give them third in the NL Central once again. And to grade their offseason, I give them a C or a C minus. I just think they lost too many guys and didn't bring really anybody in for free agency other than either re-signing guys or avoiding arbitration. So thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys enjoyed what you listened to and watched, please like, comment, and subscribe. It means a lot to me. I appreciate all the support I've gotten recently. We're going to continue this. I'm going to bring guests on the show. Trust me, it's going to be an amazing time, so please stick with me. Thank you guys once again taking time out of your day to listen to me. I appreciate it more than anything. All feedback is welcomed and appreciated. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you on the next one.